What's up, gang? It's your boy Thomas Falilu with Roots in the City podcast. I am here with the one and only Clark Manwaring, the owner of Manwaring Construction and Consulting, LLC. Super excited to have him on. Clark, how you doing?
Good, buddy. Good, buddy. Thanks for having
Good.
me on. Appreciate it.
Sorry for taking you away from your family on Sunday, man. I know that sucks, man, but it's kind of the only schedule or the only day that I can get you on. But I'm super happy to have you on. But you enjoy your Sunday?
But yeah, we've had sicknesses all around up here, so we've just
Oh,
been taking care of kids all day for like 4 days, and I'm like, I need a break.
that always sucks, man. Like just everybody in general, like gets sick, and then now you're having to, you know, play doctor to everyone, man, which is good. I can see that you fit well in that position.
Oh man, yeah, it's been a struggle, but we're here. We're all on the upswing, and hopefully by Monday we'll be able to get back to regular life.
Right.
Hmm.
I know before we aired, we talked a little bit about. Well, first let's go to. I want you to introduce yourself, who you are, your company name, and what kind of projects you're doing right now.
Okay, yeah. Hi everybody. I'm Clark Manwaring, born and raised here in Sandy, Utah. My dad was in construction. My brothers, my sister, everybody kind of has done construction throughout their career. I got my education up at the University of Utah. Go Utes! And I got my master's in accounting and worked at Layton Construction. Worked at a couple other big places that got a good understanding of business and how business needs to work and function. And when COVID hit, I left Layton and started my own company, and that's been kind of like the biggest blessing and biggest struggle in life. As being your own business and being your own sales guy and estimator. And although we have, a team back behind us, it's a struggle, right? So been kind of always doing business since I was a kid. I grew up in on the East Bench, and we just had to learn how to make money, whether we did yards or lemonade stands or anything. We just had to do what we could and kind of always focus on that customer service side,
Right. No, I
So
love it. I mean, any kids, family you want to introduce?
yeah, I have my wife, Kimberly. We've been married since 2014.
Awesome.
And we've got 3 kids that are here with us. Bennett, he's 9. And then we have Wyatt, who's turning 6 this next month. And then we have Corbett, who's a little firecracker. He's 17 months old, but man, he's crazy.
Okay. Who's the boss?
The baby. Corbett. Corbett's the boss. Bennett's the
Uh,
brains. Wyatt's the
right.
brawn. And yeah, my wife stays home and works and takes care of all the kids at home and all the needs here,
Right.
and I'm out there making the cheddar. Right,
Wow, she has the most important job.
the most
Taking care
difficult
of it.
job.
She has the most important and difficult job ever. So kudos to your wife, man. That's always awesome to be there at the front and create the foundation for your kids. That's awesome, right? And so you can't ask for anything better than that, man. So thank you, Clark, for introducing. I want to throw out an icebreaker before we move on here. Now, the icebreaker is what is something that none of your employees, now I know a lot of your employees, right? What is something that none of your employees or people that know you closely, like one of the things that they don't know about you? What is one thing that no one knows about you?
Man, I'm kind of an open book.
Your favorite drink, your favorite, like, if it's a sweet tooth, what is it?
Man, I love Mambas. Like Mambas, they're like Starburst, but they're better.
Oh yeah.
The little Mambas back in the day. I
I
just
like,
remember being a kid. Mambas have always been my go-to snack when I was, all over for my mission. When I was just growing up, Mambas were like the go-to, and the big hunks, like the hard candy. That was like my dad's favorite.
right.
And so the big hunks and Mambas are like my go-to. I don't know if many people know that because I usually don't eat sugar or candies as much as I used to.
What?
Not as much.
I'm a big sweet tooth. Like I have to have some type of sugar for the day. Like whether that's, and I'm a big Reese's guy. Like my wife is like, you need to stop eating Reese's. Like I'm a big Reese's guy. So that's one of my, a lot of people that knows me don't know that about me, but that's cool, man. So let's move on. We talked a little bit about off air about your project that's happening in St. George. Talk a little bit about that. Share that.
Yeah. So up in Little Cottonwood Canyon, I've been a friend, neighbor of this family for a long time. He was one of the closest friends of my dad. and he reached out to me about a year ago and was like, "Hey, I think I want to build a house in St. George. Do you want to do it?" And I'm like, yeah, like I've only built, maybe this is like my third home, right? From scratch.
Right.
But like I've done a lot. Like with
Hold on,
Layton
hold on, hold on.
Construction, I
You
did a
built your own
ton.
house. You
I
built your own
did.
house. You need to be proud of that. I want everybody to know that's tuning in. The fact that Clark built his own house gives him the experience of any DIY project or any general contractor because he built it from scratch and I was there part of that project. So he built this home. So give yourself kudos to that. Yeah. So
Yeah, no, that was fun, buying a 1950 home and finding out
uh
everything's wrong with it.
it looks
You
good
know?
now. It looks
Yeah.
beautiful now.
Thank you. Yeah, no, but so from there, I've done, 2,000, 3,000 square foot additions
Right.
and all those fun projects, but I've never done a home from scratch. But it wasn't just from scratch. It was, we're sitting on rock. Like you and I've had those talks, and I'm like in an excavator for what, 90 days this year straight,
Oh,
just breaking up all this rock with my team. At one point, we had 10 of us with breakers breaking up this rock because we had to go about 2,000 feet to
right.
bring power up to the site. But I mean, it's just a one of a kind project. It's made out of steel. It overhangs the cliff. The infinity pool sits right on the cliff, so the lot of rock is going to be right around it, and the infinity pool just goes down. And it's a one of a kind project. And I'm just so blessed to have such a great owner that trusts in our abilities. And it's a big project. I mean, we're on 13 acres of property, and about 7.5 to 8 are under construction right now. So
Right.
it's a big deal. It's a big
No, no,
project.
no. I remember you guys posted a few times, and I was thinking to myself too, because I travel to St. George all the time, and that place is rock everywhere, and I can only imagine the amount of breaking up you guys have to do. So you've been in an excavator doing that, man. Kudos to you, man. Because I probably would have been after 90 days. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I need to rethink my, like this whole decision of trying to help somebody out, build a home. But kudos to you. I mean, we'll tune in, later to follow up with you on that project. So, let's move on to segment one, where we're going to talk about the reality of construction. Right? You've had all these experiences with Layton Construction. Layton's actually one of the biggest construction companies here in the state of Utah. I've done a lot of projects with them. The UVU project I was on. Tell us, like your experience there and what is some things that kind of helped you? Like, what were people that are still there that helped you, get to where you are right now? Like, talk a
Oh
little bit about
man,
that.
all of them. I mean, Dave Layton's a great guy. He was somebody that I looked up to a lot, and just all of their upper management. I got to know a lot of them, in the accounting department with Robert Huey as my boss,
Right, right,
and just learning about how the accounting works because I've built a lot before I worked there.
right.
And I did a little bit of accounting. I didn't do a lot of accounting. I worked at Deloitte for, a year and then came and worked there, and I understood the business because that was my life. And kind of putting numbers to projects and understanding how change orders work and how you need to have, RFIs submitted on time. You need to have lien waivers and insurance. Like every job that I did was a big project. I
Huh.
did on average, my average project was probably $75 million. And I had one project in Canada that was over 600 million.
Wow.
And so it doesn't matter what size of project, the stress levels, as you know, they're there.
They're there.
Whether you're an accountant or a
Oh,
worker.
yeah, they're there because Leighton is such a big company, and so anything can go wrong. But when it does, it's like, oh my gosh, like my now all eyes are on me because your hand is on that project, and so I can
Yep.
see the frustration, man. Like that is hard, man. But people don't get that, right? They just think, oh my gosh, construction folks make a lot of money. Like if you're in blue collar, you make a lot of money, but they don't see the back end stuff, right? You just mentioned it, the accounting, like all of these stuff that goes behind the scenes no one knows about. You just talked about a big 75 million or 60 million dollar project. Your hands is on that. If anything goes wrong, like your team is going to be the one they look at and say, what's going on here? And that's stressful. So, but now that you're on this side of it, right? You own your own business. Obviously, I've seen you grow from your shop. Dad, how was that over the years? Like, what did you learn from him that helped mold you and helped your journey, along the way?
Yeah, I think a lot of his embodiment is what I've been trying to kind of take over. Like
Right.
he was persistent. When he did estimates, he was usually within, you know, 1 or 2%.
Ah,
And so
ah,
he came in kind of like a last case resort of we
right.
need to fix this project. What do we need to do? And he would come in, he's 6'4", I'm 6'4", but he looks big. I'm just big. You know what I mean? Like he had the muscle and I'm just like this 270 guy
Uh,
and 50, but he embodied that confidence that when he
Right.
walked on a job site, people knew it was the Manwaring or HKM construction way. Like it
Uh,
wasn't going to be their way. It's going to be, this is the way, you
that's
know,
awesome.
that's how we're going to roll.
Right.
And I've tried to do a little bit of that, but as you know, like things happen on a job
Right.
and you have to be adaptable and you have to be flexible and
Yeah.
you have to understand everybody's side. Like if something is delivered a week late,
Right.
that doesn't just affect that sub, it affects every other sub
Everyone.
behind
Yep.
it. And
Yeah.
so as managers, right, that's what we are. We try and help get back on schedule, even though that one delay is going to delay us a month. We're trying to figure out, hey, what is the right way to get this thing moving forward without jeopardizing quality and without doing too many change orders.
Right.
But product costs go up, right? You know,
Right.
things break. Like you and I've had plenty of time where it's like, oh crap, I forgot my hose bib. Crap, you didn't mark this, you didn't dig deep enough. Like there's all
Right. Right.
those
Right.
on the moment scenarios that you have to be flexible. And if you're not going to make it in this
Yeah.
industry.
So
Construction is a very on the fly.
I was just going to deep dive into that real quick. So, I was going to ask you, like, what is some of the hardest things about owning your own business? And you just mentioned a few, but let's pinpoint down to one of the hardest things that and since you've been in business, like, what are some challenges that you face that you're just like, man, dude, I wish, like if we've done this a little better, what are those challenges in your business?
I would say open communication. Like when something hits the fan,
All right.
don't hide it. It's not
Right.
that we try to hide it, but we want to solve it before we give them an answer. And I've realized, especially with the job we have right now in Pepperwood and especially that St. George job, we
Right.
can't hide when something happens. We got to tell them this is what happened. This is how we're going to solve it.
Right.
It's going to take 2 extra days. Oh, we hope you understand. We had glass installed, and when the glass door was opening, the drywall in that one little section was too low. So I had to shave off and plane it and sand it, and it
Right.
still wouldn't open. So I had to cut the drywall off. Owners, weren't very happy because they wanted to come to a house that's done. I'm like, but that's the best solution, right? Is fix the drywall,
Right.
make it all, leveled, and make sure that that glass door can open. Those are things that I had to spend a Saturday instead of going and hanging out with the fam. I had to go
Okay.
and work and get it done because at the end of the day, we are getting paid to
Right.
facilitate an end project, not a midway project, but a finished product. And so
Right.
that's why I would say one of the biggest, hardest, most difficult aspects of construction is, especially owning your own business. You
Right.
worked today. Did you want to do that? No,
No.
we want to be home. We want to be with the family,
Right.
the kids. We want to go in and just
Right.
chill.
Right.
But I think our personalities, we can't chill. Even if we're chilling, we're thinking about work. We're on our phone.
Oh
We're looking
yeah.
at, right?
Oh yeah.
It's not okay. I was on vacation in San Diego a month ago and I was on about 3.5 hours of straight calls
Right.
trying to get all my my still erection installed and
Right.
properly and all those different components that I think a lot of people that look inside think, oh, it's easy. I won't do that. I'm not going to work on a Sunday. I've
Right.
only worked 2 Sundays, 3 Sundays, my entire owning a company. And I
Right.
can tell you that those 3 Sundays were the hardest days that I've ever had on the
Oh my
construction
gosh.
field.
Well, I had 5 openings on a lift today, so it was like, and it's a commercial building. It's the new, we're working on a project up in Harrisville. It's the new police department. So they were like, you can only work on the weekends. And so I tried to get things done on Friday and Saturday, but that wasn't the case because too many people were around. But that's hearsay, man. But let's talk about you mentioned a lot of times where, you're on vacation, but you're still making phone calls and you're still receiving phone calls on materials that are coming in and stuff like that. Like, I want people to understand this because they see us, right? And we're on vacation and they think, well, must be nice. Must be nice. They're on vacation. And I get that a lot. I'm like, dude, you're always on vacation. I said, look, man, I own my own business. I work a lot of hours and I'm away from my family majority of the time. And I see you. you're away from your family a lot, Clark. Like you are like, like you are away from the wife and the kids and you're providing for them, but they don't see that. Let's help, let's help with these folks out there that are tuning in. Like, what are some of the pros and cons with owning your business? That way, a lot of people who think owning their business, right? These people that are just coming in and want to be entrepreneurs, they don't know this side of it. Explain or talk a little bit about the pros and cons on that and what are the benefits and what are the cons of like the takeaways from that.
So I would say the biggest thing is you have to have, if you can, a team behind you. I've got a great team. You know,
Yeah, you
Natalie.
do.
Natalie is a
Yes, you do.
boss. You know, she handles her crap and she makes
Shout out to
sure
Natalie, man. She's a beast.
she knows, and the subs know when she
Yeah.
calls and she's like, I'm going to hold you accountable for that mess up. You're going to be held accountable. Like,
Right.
so I have that confidence in her and Alan, who, will
Yeah.
facilitate product and materials and get the stuff there on time so that the subs can do their job. Like,
Right.
without the team, there's no way I could even go on a trip.
Right.
Now, mind you, I don't enjoy the vacation the entire time because of those calls. Like that San Diego trip I was on, total, we had 5 days we were there. I was on calls for about 16 hours. And then I was on doing, pay apps and invoices during the
Right.
night. So
Right.
you're probably 24 hours I was actually working
Right.
on my vacation, but I could get away because I'm a business owner
Sure.
and spend that time with my family. When if you go work for somebody, I made that decision to go on that trip on Wednesday and we left on Friday,
But
right? It's
don't
like
you
that
love it?
last minute.
Hold on. Don't you love that?
Oh,
Like
dude, like,
it is
and it's
awesome,
great.
right?
I couldn't just go and ask my boss at Leighton, hey, by the way, I want to go on a trip in 2 days. He'd be like, oh, okay. I mean, with remote work, it's different, right?
Right.
But in our industry, we're not really
Right.
remote. We're hands on.
Yeah.
Let's get the project done. And, being away from my team and then having that trust and reliance on Natalie and Alan to get crap done, especially Natalie. Like I said, she
Yeah.
tells my subs what to do.
Right.
And is she perfect? No. Am I perfect at my job? No. But we understand the tasks. And that I think becoming a business owner, do you work in your company, for your company, or on your
Right.
company? I don't know how to not do all three.
Right.
Right. I mean, I love to sit in an excavator and work. I love to go and frame up a house. I love to go do drywall. Now I
Right.
won't do mud and tape. No, but you know what I mean? Like there's things that I
Right.
can do when I want to. Like
Sure.
my kids are all sick. I didn't work Thursday and Friday, like on the job site. I was there to be able to take care of them and be home. Now I
Right.
worked for a couple hours, but the reality is when you're a business owner, that's a definite pro is you pick your hours.
Right.
But the con is the project going to continue without you there, right? For example, for you, that would be really hard to, if you
Yeah.
don't show up, who's going to be doing the job? So that there's like that fine line of finding the absolute perfect people or just somebody that you know and can trust and rely on that
Right.
they'll step in to act like you. And then if they give you, some lip, hey, the boss said this. Okay. Yeah, it's just that extra voice of reason per se that helps kind of push things along. But yeah, I mean, I have my son's soccer tournament in Orem next week and then Park City the week after. So am I going to try and see a project in Park City and get a job? You bet.
That's
It
part of
would
it. That's part of it.
that's
Yeah.
part of it. Is I'm up there. I have a customer that potentially needs some help. So let's
Right.
go check out their project. And down
Right.
in Orem, we have a potential addition.
Right.
I'll go take a 30-minute little detour and be like, hey, are you interested? Right. That's how it works. But that's the hardest thing about that
Right.
is sometimes kids just they don't see that we try and do everything for them. And
Right.
that little bit of time where we're away, it's like, well, where'd dad go? It's like crap. Because they notice when I was gone for this year, I
Right.
have like 117 days in a hotel.
Mhm.
February 26th until like April 22nd, I didn't come home more than a day. And I
Right.
had my two surgeries. So I'd fly home,
Oh
see
yeah,
my
I
doctor,
remember.
get my
Yeah. I
x-rays fixed
remember.
out,
Yeah.
and then do my therapy and fly back down to St. George. Right.
Oh,
Those are some of the sacrifices that we kind of have to make because one, we're trying to make the customer happy, but two, we're also trying to make as much money as we can to
right.
help our families. And so
Yeah.
when I am home, we can go do the vacations and go do the other fun things that perhaps working for somebody else, you probably can't
Right.
control those hours. So controlling hours, money, and then sometimes you got months where there's a ton of money flying in. And sometimes you've got like those slow months and you're like,
Yeah.
I'm going to pull out the HELOC and put some money in the business. It's like, Sorry, no vacation,
Yeah.
but my points will pay our thing next month.
Yeah. No, 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 no. I mean, like, I'm glad you're being transparent and you're sharing those things because those that are tuned in and they will be watching this, a lot of people want that type of information. I love it, man. I love that you're able to share that. So the question I have for you is what separates a successful contractor to the ones that fail? Like what separates them?
Transparency. I really believe in that. I really believe that customers need to know what they're really getting. When we've been underbid the last probably 3 months on these big projects by
Oh,
like $70,000. And I'm looking, I'm like, there's no way, like my material takeoff of that 70 is 45.
right,
That's without labor. And I'm like, there's just no way. How are they doing it? And so we've had to step in a couple times with homeowners going with the cheaper guy
right,
and not understanding the scope of work that was bid or the quality of product. So when
right,
we bid everything, and I'm not saying we're perfect, we bid everything mid to mid high
right,
on product.
right,
And then we pick between 2 to 3 subs and we let the homeowner look at those sub numbers and say, who do you want to go with? This person, they're the most expensive. We know they're going to give you the best work.
right,
They are the top notch, right?
right,
The next guy, he's great. We use him on projects that are under $1 million. It will take a little bit longer.
right,
So if you're in a rush, we don't want to go there. Like those are the things that we try and do.
right,
And so sometimes we've been underbid because, people just want the job and then they change order in and then homeowners, they can't pay it. So what happens? Then you have the subs who aren't getting paid.
right.
And I'd pay my guy, I'd pay you
Oh
guys
yeah.
like before you're
Right.
done. I'm like,
Let's
right?
let's set the tone here real quick, man, because I want people to understand. Like one of the reasons why I brought you on, right? And not only do I do love you, man. I love you like a brother, man. Like but every time I've watched you and I've watched your team and I've watched how you communicate with your team. And this is why I brought you on because I know that people need to hear from a good general contractor. They do. You know what I mean? Like, and so for me to bring you on and to have you be transparent, like you just share jewels right there. Those are the things that people don't understand is that I tell people all the time, hey, I don't care how many bids you get for cutting. I can tell you that you're getting me and I'm going to give you what I can give you because I'm the quality that I bring to the table. Now you can go with these guys. They might be cheaper or some might be around my number, but you're getting me at the end of the day that has the all pro brand, right? Like that's me. That's only me. For you, when you're sitting down with these homeowners and these other, general contractors, you're literally laying out and educating them on the process. So a lot of people don't see that because they're just saying, "Oh, I want cheap." And then you're just like, "Okay, if you want cheap, here's the breakdown on that."
No.
And they're like, "Oh, wow." And then you're just like, I don't know how they're doing it because for the material alone, how are they making this money? So education is a big thing. And I think people fail to understand that, especially these homeowners that are kind of into DIY, right? They're just like, oh, I can fix this, I can fix that, but I just need somebody to manage it and tell me what to do. Those are the type of people that are kind of difficult to work with, right? Because you're sitting there and you're just, even the amount of education that you give them, they're still kind of, well, I still want to shave money here and shave money there. And then you have to really let them know and be transparent. Well, it's not going to be the quality that you want. And that's where you come into play. And I love what you and Natalie and your team has done. I've watched you guys, especially at that project, man. It's fun to see you guys up in St. George and down in St. George and doing that, and you doing your thing. It's amazing. Any other thing you want to say before we move on?
I would just say the biggest thing is educating your customers. I have a customer who I met with on Thursday. Okay,
Right,
this is an addition. It's about 300,000, and she was like, "Well, do you have any idea what this is going to cost? I've had two other contractors. They have no idea." And I'm like, "Well, yeah. What type of finish are you hoping for? Well, are you wanting to redo the entire house too, or just the addition?"
right,
Right? And she was like, "Well, walk me through. I have a budget of 290. What can I do?" And I said, "Okay, the addition and this." And she just was like, oh my gosh, nobody has told us that. They just say, I'll just throw a number when I actually have plans. And now don't get me wrong, we'll fine tune that.
right.
But we've all done this long enough. If you can't give a customer a price, just like ballpark, you
Yeah,
probably shouldn't be in construction.
yeah,
We all know what it's going to roughly cost. Now, obviously, if they go pick granite versus quartz or marble,
Oh
there's a
yeah,
big difference.
it's a difference.
But those are like little things that are in the design phase. For us,
Right,
we have like a design phase as well as pre-construction. And
right,
that design phase is where we kind of weed out all of the finishes. And then we
right,
could be like, your number's this, right?
right,
But I'm not going to go and give somebody an estimate to the exactness because that's just unheard of. This
right.
industry is too competitive.
Oh yeah,
And you just have to understand that homeowners, they don't know what they want. And if you don't have that vision of, hey, this is what I see for you,
right,
and that's how we won that job. Like they're signing their contract on Monday and they're ready to go. And I'm just thankful and grateful that she told us no other contractor told us that one, they can do a design for them, and two, what it's going to cost. And they're like, that's huge. Without that, we probably wouldn't have picked you. I was like, cool, right? Thumbs up. So let's go. Right. So those are
right,
the things that I think of, when it comes to that with your homeowners is have the vision that they want,
right,
and you're just a middleman to help people get coordinated and carry out that dream for them. Like you're on their side.
right.
Just make sure you have a preliminary lien, right, to protect yourself, as you know. But
Yeah, yeah,
that's in essence what we are, is we're their guide for their dream. So don't fight. Just have an understanding of what your role is
right,
and carry it out.
right. What are I want to throw this as we move on. Like, what are the? Do you have any horror stories?
Do I? Oh, brother.
Do you
Uh,
have any? I mean, like, I know it. I know there's a ton. I mean, like out there, but do you have one personally that you want to share?
Yeah, I can't say names, but it was an insurance job that we did. And just put it this way, we're still owed over 90 grand and it's been done for 3 years. We had to walk from the project. We had an attorney write up everything. Like we were
Wow.
almost done with the house and the homeowner's like, well, I just didn't like how that texture looked. And so we brought the insurance company back in. They gave us extra monies to go and fix this texture, right? Because
Right.
when you're in a nice, 7,000 square foot home, it needs to be put
Right.
back, right? And the insurance just, they bent over backwards to give this person everything they needed. And then in
Right.
the short run, they're like, oh, well, we paid our adjuster your money. And I'm like, well, then I can't finish the job.
Right.
Like I'm already negative right now. So you know what? You guys have 2 weeks to come up with to make me not negative, or I've got to walk. And then here's my list of everything that they breached their contract. And I was like, at the end of the day, I lost over 90 grand. But it was my principle of I'm going to do everything I can for my homeowners, but
Right.
like it goes both ways, right? If you're going to be siphoning money, you're a Ponzi scheme, right? You probably shouldn't have other contractors. And I had two of my buddies go out and bid to finish the job. And one of the guys was like, I really wanted to do it. So I fixed a couple cabinets and I never got paid. I was like, yeah, told you.
Yeah.
I told you she's not going to pay you. But it's just one of those things where, I mean, that's one of the instances. There's another one where people kept adding on change orders and approving it, but they weren't paying it. So I had to stop construction. Like that's how it works is
Wow.
when you do a change order, we ask for at least 75% of that cost to be
Right.
paid right now because one, you're delaying the project. Two, our focus has just shifted.
Right. Right.
And three, I've got to go procure all these materials and get these subs in line with the new vision. So there's going to be some payments that we need to get to people. And so like right now, we don't do change orders unless it's been signed, approved, and deposits have been paid. Because
Deposit has been paid. Yep.
you can't. Like so many people at the end, like, I don't remember saying that. Or it's yeah, but I thought you were doing us a favor, bro. Like, we're here to help, but we ain't
Right.
working for free.
We're not working for free. Yeah.
Right. And that I think in the mentality of a lot of homeowners and a lot of contractors is, I'll catch them on the next one. Well, there's not going to be a next one. Just be honest, be upfront, say, this is what it costs. If you
Right.
want us to do this change, this is the timeline it's going to affect. These are the new costs. We need to get payment before we can do that. Now, Natalie will say I'm like the worst at that because I love to just help my homeowners and just
Right.
push the project. So I'll be like, oh, I'll
Right.
just go do it myself. And you can't. Like,
Right.
you do one, that one's only $200, but you do 50 of those throughout the project.
Oh yeah. It'll add up.
That's where it adds up.
It adds up. I mean, grateful for Natalie, right? Because she sets the standard there of you
Or-
just like, no, dude, like we're not doing that, dude. Like then the homeowner's gonna be like, great, man, maybe there's another little part over there that we need done. And so
Mhm.
as you're getting the project done, man, has there been any subcontractors that, and you don't have to mention their names, but you can tell, like subcontractors that you worked with in the past that you're just like, dude, yeah, I would never work with that person. What was the issue there?
Oh,
And
you know, man. You know my concrete guy who did my house. You remember? The windows weren't high, like they were too high. We had to notch all the windows. I'm like, man, I'm not there supervising every window
right,
placement. Like you should know, 42 inches off the ground, boom,
right,
that's code, and it
right.
can't be at 48. What are you doing? Like those things, like concrete and framing, are like the two most important things.
Important things. Yep.
And I'm not perfect, right? We made
Right.
mistakes on a job in West Jordan, like compaction. Like when you backfill, you got to compact that every freaking foot, or
Oh
else
yeah.
you're gonna have shrinkage and
Yeah.
sinking. And so concrete is vital. Legend Concrete, Francisco are fantastic. Like they are one of my go-to guys. Jeff
Right.
Dumas is fantastic when it comes to concrete
Yeah.
work.
Jeff Dubas. Yeah. No, they're good.
Fantastic. But like there's things that you have to catch, especially in the framing section.
Right.
If you are doing additions, I'll be honest. And I don't think a lot of people understand this. As a homeowner, doing an addition can sometimes be more costly than tearing down the house and redoing it. Tying in concrete and making sure that everything stands strong, framing, all of those components and all of your HVAC and your electrical and your plumbing. I don't think people quite realize it is really expensive to do an addition versus a new build. Like
Oh yeah.
that's why we tore down my house. I
Oh yeah.
actually had an addition prepped, ready to go. We
Yeah.
looked at the foundation, we looked at all the brick, and we're like, there's no rebar. See you later. Sayonara, right? And so we tore down my whole house.
Right.
We redid all of my plumbing because all my pipes were bad.
Right.
And so it gets to that stage where you've got knob and tube, electrical, you've got your HVAC is 1990. Like it's time, right? To
Oh
say
yeah.
bye-bye. And then create your dream, right? That's why we did this, because we were going to move out in Harriman and go build with Toll Brothers. And I was like, why? I'll do it.
Right.
And then we kicked back like, okay, let's stay in White City, Sandy area, and let's just build here. And this is our forever home. Done. Let's go. Right.
You got an amazing home. Just so you know, your home is amazing. It was built right. I love passing by. Every time I'm working in that area, I pass by your house.
It's the
I
only
always go
normal
back. I'm
house.
like, I just drive by. Like I'll drive by and I'm like, man, that house, man, he built it from scratch, man. Like that is amazing. Now I'm still amazed at that, man. So, but have you ever done a redo or like redone or taken over a project where another subcontractor, another general contractor just left it? Like,
We've done
have
a
you?
lot. And it's sad because
Has that been a big issue?
it is, because it's more expensive. So one of the jobs I did and took over up in North Salt Lake, so right at the mouth of where I-15 and I-15 come together,
Right,
right there on Legacy Parkway. This guy contacted me because he felt that the contractor had failed in a couple things. And I'm like, oh yeah, he ran all the wiring wrong, the drywall's wrong, there's no leveling for the floor. And he's like, well, how much is it for you to fix it? I'm like, why didn't you just go with us to begin with? He's like,
right,
you were $4,000 more expensive. And I'm like, for $4,000,
yeah,
everything we have to do, we have to take all of the drywall off.
right,
We have to tear out all of the electrical wire because they'd run the wrong wire. Like it was so bad. And I felt so bad for him that I was like, hey, I won't charge you for one full day of labor for my crew. And we'll do what we can in that one day of demo. So he ended up gutting the rest of the basement, and we just come in, and it was about $4,500 more expensive than what he had originally contracted with the other contractor. And I had a great attorney help him get most of his funds back.
like from
But it doesn't happen all the time. Like when homeowners go and pick these contractors, like you got to do your due diligence. Like we're not perfect. I
yeah,
don't claim us to be perfect either. Like
I
we have
agree.
our areas, but like my price, when I give you my scope of work, that price is what you're going to get.
Oh yeah,
But if you
agreed.
don't have a scope, if you don't have a design, how can anybody tell you what their price is going to be? Because I could give you $5,000 and go buy cabinets from Home Depot and spray paint them, for Pete's sake, right? Like you never know what you're going to get.
That
So
is
we
right.
try and
Yeah.
describe what you're going to get for the price.
All right.
And I think that was the biggest thing for them. And we did another one where they had gutted the house and then just left. Like they took the person's money and they were out.
Whoa.
And I'm just like, OSHA would be fun at this commercial. And they'd be
Oh
like,
yeah, it's
there's
commercial.
exposure everywhere for all these pipes sticking out.
Yeah,
But on a residential job, how can they go get the recourse?
yeah,
Doppel can only do so much. And so those are the things that we try and step in. I'm not going to do it for free, but I'll
right.
figure out ways to have you help. Like, hey, how about you guys paint? You can use my discount at Home Depot, get 20% off, right?
Right.
You guys paint, and that would be like our wash.
Agreement. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, there's been probably 5 or 6 big projects that we've stepped in to try and help finish and do it right. That 3 of them we bid on and they didn't go with us. And then they ended up going with us to fix the stuff. And
Right.
I was
Right.
like, it was 1% of the entire contract. Like, have that
Wow.
conversation with me. Tell
Right.
me what areas would you rather you guys try and help to keep your costs where you need it to be, or let's
Right.
reduce the scope.
Right.
Right. Because
No,
nobody can just go and do discounts. Like, you can't just go and say, I've got to go and remove $800 off your bill because of XYZ. Like, no.
right.
Yeah. You got to be fair.
No, no, that is totally true. And so let's talk about the bad and good contractors, right? Subcontractors. Like, what are the red flags of hiring a subcontractor?
Red flags, if they ask for a 50% deposit and they're only providing labor, that's a big red flag. That means they're taking from Peter to pay Paul,
That's right.
right? Are they
Yeah.
licensed and insured
Yeah.
and maybe bonded depending upon the job? Do they have workers' comp? That is like, and that's another reason why we lose jobs sometimes is because we're paying. I mean, I pay like, I think 60 grand extra every year to have all my insurances intact
Right.
that some contractors don't have. It's just like baffling to me. What if you hire a guy who doesn't have insurance and they mess up the house? What happens to the house, right? If they don't go and pay their vendor, what happens? So I look at that, the Doppel. I do talk to my people over at WCF and
Right.
talk to them about, hey, have you seen these guys get insurance and then revoke it? Right. A lot of people do that. They go get the
Right.
year policy to show people and then they close it within 2 months.
Wow.
And so the biggest red flags is, are they going to ask for 50% without doing anything with materials? Do they push you back twice? One time I'm okay with because things happen.
Right.
But if it's a second time within that period, that's a pretty bad red flag. And
Right. I can.
and you can tell when somebody's like BS in their way. Like, ask for references, talk to the
Right.
people. Like, I've
Right.
got customers that don't like me because one, during COVID, prices of lumber skyrocketed
Oh yeah.
and
I
concrete.
still
I
feel
can't
like it's
control that.
yeah, you can't control that stuff, man. Like that's expensive. But homeowners think you can, a lot of you guys have discounts.
We get our 3% discount. That's to help cover the admin that you're not paying for, right?
Oh my gosh.
But I mean, those are the red flags, right? Is are
Right.
they saying, "Hey, I have a buddy that could help do this," or do they offer too many services? If they're a contractor that does mud and tape,
Mm.
if they come in and say, "Hey, we can also do framing, we can also do tile," you're another GC, thanks, right? But we understand your role, and so
Right.
like for you, I wouldn't call you and be like, "Hey, Thomas, I need you to come and mud and tape this, please. Can you help?" Right? I know your specialty, and I want to help you focus on your specialty and then I don't have to worry about that, right? Like, remember that Mill Creek job we did? We had to take out the whole back wall. Remember, we only did 3
I was
little
there.
openings, and I was like, "This is wrong. I can't let them live with this when the
Right.
concrete's disintegrating."
Oh
But
yeah. It was bad
Thomas, gotta
concrete.
go.
It was bad concrete, man. Like I was like, oh.
But how do you know
Um,
until you cut in, right? And you were willing to do what we needed to do to get the job
right.
done, and that's the
Anything
type
for
of
you,
sub.
bro. Anything for you.
Right? Like, it was good, but like those
Yeah.
are the things, right? Is the subcontractor willing to fix their mistake
Right.
or help when something goes wrong shows a lot about the person, about the
Right.
business, and definitely somebody that you can rely on, right? So those are
No,
my
I
pros
love
and
that.
cons with contractors for sure.
I love that. Let's talk about, we're going to talk about the importance of having those subcontractors. Like you mentioned one of those, like, you mentioned Jeff, you mentioned, legendary, like those legend concrete. I mean, who else are those out there? Cause let's promote them. Cause we definitely want, folks to tune in, but what are, other companies that you've worked with that are like great,
I mean,
to,
you are, right? You're the only company I call. I've got those other couple options, right? Me, but once I
sure.
figured out my homeboy, I was like, let's go. But no, I love Wade Crest. Talon does a great job with
Awesome.
drywall,
Yes. Yes.
mud tape. They do plaster. So if you need
Right.
like awesome plaster or like hood ranges, we did a hood range up in Park City that was just awesome. She was
Nice.
fantastic to work
Oh
with.
yeah.
Victor Flooring and Hamilton. Hamilton
Right.
does a great job.
Wow.
I mean, there's a lot of different subs that I've worked with that are great. That sometimes just take longer to get to the job because they're like a one man shop, and we
Right.
get it, right? Just let me know, right? But yeah, I mean, it's hard because I've kind of taken over my own excavation because I've seen excavators just take advantage and show up whenever they want.
Hold on, let's talk about your house. Yeah, let's talk about your house. I mean, there was a bid for your house. I think one of the guys was like, "Yeah, I can excavate this for this amount of money." You're just like, "Yeah, right." I mean, like, but just things like that. I mean, like, you can definitely find some good ones out there, and there's a lot of bad ones out there too. Now, let's talk about social media because there's a lot of. I don't know how often you are, but I will see a lot of like the homepage, Connect Utah, and all of these entities there that are out there for construction workers, blue collar. When you see guys that are constantly on there, like guys that say, "Oh, I can do it," and you know those guys,
Kills me.
it kills, right? Like it is hard because I've seen, and this goes because I see a lot of concrete guys out there. There are tons of concrete guys out there and they promote as them being the best in town. I never promote that I'm the best cutter. There's so many like that is the most idiotic thing to, like to go on social media and to tell everybody that you are the best in town. Like number one, you're not the best in town. But number two, you're full of it. You know what I mean? Like, and so there's always going to be those bad apples out there, like that on social media, right? Well, I see them a bunch, but how hard is it when you see somebody that that are just like, dude, I want to roast this guy, but I know me. Like, how often are you having to step back from like doing that?
Now, mind you, I'm not perfect. I was an accountant who went and, I know construction. Like, I'm
Right,
not perfect by any means, but you get me in a framer and I can tell them, hey, this is
yeah,
what we need to do.
right,
I see guys that market. And so that's the key. I
right.
am not a good marketer. I told you this is my first podcast. I am still gotten the shakes because I don't know what to say. I don't want to sound
You're doing a good
stupid.
job. Hey, you're doing a good
Right.
job. You're doing a
But
good job.
but I look at these guys that are expert marketers that don't know how to build, and I'm like, okay, that's great, but maybe tell people where and what you really are, right? And I'm not going to call anybody out because that's not who I am. It's not what I
Right,
do. But it comes down to the fact that these homeowners need a builder,
right,
not a marketer.
right.
And that's the thing in Utah's. Do we not have multi-level marketing? Oh my
Oh,
gosh,
it
right?
is crazy.
So, and I'm not trying to get into that, but the construction contractor world is like a multi-level marketing. It's like, and no offense to some of those groups that you go and join, I've talked to you about them, but you're going to promote the guy who won't show up,
Right,
right? Like, come on, man. Like, you're going to tell your architect that they need to fix it this way when the right way was how they had it.
right.
Those things drive me nuts. Like, the plans are there for a reason. If you can't interpret the plans and do it however you want, why are you calling an architect and engineer, right?
Yeah,
And tell people the truth instead of just, hey, I have this big project or I have 30 homes or I have all this stuff going on. I'm like, okay, but what do you know how to do? I just know how to market. Perfect. Let me help you build, right?
right, right.
Because I don't
No,
market very
no.
often.
Dude, you hit it on the head right there because there's tons of them out here in Utah. Like, and they promote as general contractors. Obviously, they went and got their general contractors. Like to
It's a
me,
joke though. Forget a
I think it's
GC
yeah.
license.
Let's talk about that. So that's the big issue here in Utah. Like, you can go to California and it is hard to get a general contracts license in there, but you come to Utah and I feel like the whole like entrepreneur mindset here, it's the mecca of entrepreneurship here in Utah. And so Utah kind of, to me, they kind of blindfolded themselves. So saying, hey, if you can go and get that test, which is super easy to do,
Open
and
book.
oh yeah, it's open. Yeah, your time, but it's open book. I mean, and every note that you've taken down are the answers. I mean, so it's like for me, it's literally it's. I think it's terrible for our industry because you have a lot of these guys that are in marketing getting their general contracts license, and you see them, and I don't like to mention names as well, but I see a lot of guys that are promoting like their ad is amazing. You just see it. Like, the way they move and the way they are, they're great at marketing. However, you see as blue collar, you and I, we as contractors, we see the flaw in that. Like we see it right away because we can see right through that. Like when I see it, I'm literally like, dude, what? Like, do you even pick up a hammer? Like, do you even know how to nail something in? Like, what are you doing any of? And then you come to find out they're just managing. That's all they do. They market and they just delegate everything to, their subcontractors, hoping that the project is going to go right. what are the downfalls when you see something like that? What are the downfalls? What is something that homeowners need to watch out for when dealing with someone like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you and I are talking about the same person, but I think the biggest thing when it comes to that is understanding the plans. Like, hey, walk me through these plans. What's happening? Like, as a homeowner, be enthusiastic about understanding how the build is
Right,
done, not
right,
just the finished product. One of my buddies, Trapper Roderick,
right,
Roderick Builders are great because he has that vision of architecture and design,
right.
right? They do bigger homes. We don't quite do what they do. They just did like a $100 million home in
Oh, they're
Malibu or
big
something.
time. Yep,
They're
they're big time.
huge. But
Yeah,
like his vision of helping homeowners understand A, B, C will get you to D instead of
right,
just, oh, well, that's what the finished product's going to look like. Oh, okay, cool. Right. And I think homeowners, if they have a little bit of that in them, then they can catch not the lie and the deceit, but he's fantastic.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he is fantastic. He could save any contractor out of the framing issues that
Right,
they run into.
right,
Right? But I don't want to rely on my framer or my concrete guy to tell me how to fix something.
right,
And that's where one thing we've tried to take a lot more pride in is understanding the plans perfectly and then asking each sub in their respective role so we don't have issues. They
right,
come up, right? My St. George stuff, we had an issue with our B deck, put the concrete on. We had issue with our HVAC runs and our plumbing runs and our electrical, like where everything was. So we had
right,
to reorganize everything. But I mean, those are the things is if you can avoid it, the design phase is
mhm,
where you catch it. A lot of
right,
people don't do the design phase. They just, as a contractor, say, oh, give me your plans and I'll build it. You're missing the point. You're missing
right,
the experience of building with a builder who wants to walk you through the process and not
right,
just throw it out there, but they want you to be involved. Like we want you to be involved in that design and in picking out things and last minute changes of, hey, let's put a shooting range in our basement, right? Like those things that
right,
normally you wouldn't think.
right,
Well, pick a builder who's going to help you see everything and not just be a robot and build what you want them to build,
right.
because homeowners sometimes don't know what's possible. Like I had a couple walk through this house that we're doing in Sandy. You've been there.
Oh, yeah,
Throw down most of that house and we're rebuilding it right now. But I had people walk through like, well, why did you do the trusses like this instead of like that? And help them understand, to do an attic room, you have to have that load carry all the way down. And that's
that is
bigger
correct.
lumber. LVLs are more expensive. We want to keep people on a budget. And they're like, oh, okay, I would have just done it. And I'm like, oh, yeah, no. Like there's things that you have to do.
Right,
And so that's why I have, Brian Carrick as my architect because he does
right.
great architect work. Is he perfect? No, but that's what I'm not looking for. I'm looking for somebody who's willing to
To
own
help
it
you out. Yep,
and say, hey, let's get it fixed right.
right,
How did you envision it? Perfect. Let's move forward. Right. So that's kind of what I've kind of done with my team is we've tried to build this and we've gone through our fair share of drywallers, man. There's a billion of them and none of them want to
that's
own up.
done. So
I think
moving
talent is
forward,
great.
moving on, I mean, like, before we hit the last segment here, 10 years down the road, like 10 years from now, where do you see Utah in the blue collar world? Like, is it positive? Do you see some positive changes coming? Do you see it
I'm
kind of
worried, honestly. I'm worried about the main four trades: framing, electrical, plumbing, and HVAC, because there's a ton of people retiring and not a lot of us are getting trained. Like I looked into actually getting my electrical license and my plumbing license and they were like, oh, it's like a 10-year
yeah,
trajectory. You need 10 years of experience to do this. I'm like, dude, I've wired a bazillion freaking homes. I know a lot. I'm not perfect, but I
I
know a ton about electrical. There's no way I can't just take a test and pass it. And she looked at me and she's like, that's the problem
I
is because you GCs don't have anything to do really to
I
become a GC. You sit down and take a test while the rest of the trade work, they have years. And
I
that's where I think the big difference comes into between a great contractor is the years that they put into their
experience,
mastering,
yep.
right? And I think that that's the kicker is
Right,
are they experienced and can you see it in them? Do they talk it? Do they understand it?
right.
And I think that that's what I'm worried about most in the next 10 years. And then you have those big track home builders like Edge Homes, Richmond Homes, Toll Brothers, DR Horton.
Deal
You
Horton,
have
yep.
all those big names, which their specialty is to get you into a home that's kind of inexpensive.
And
But
cookie
don't
cutters.
be mad. Yeah, the
Yeah,
cookie
they're all
cutters.
cookie cutters, yeah.
Don't expect to pay a ton of money,
Yeah.
but don't expect it to last a long time. And I'm not saying us custom home builders are perfect, but I feel like we put a lot more energy
Time and effort, and yep.
into the quality of product instead of just we have to pump this house out.
Right. No, I totally see that. That's my worry too, because a lot of the plumbers that I'm connected to are older. They're older now, and they probably only got maybe 4 to 5 years left in them to keep going, and they've been doing really well. And I know a lot. Burke Davis is one of my favorite guys. Like that I run to when I need something with plumbing, but there's a lot of younger guys. My hope is that the younger guys in high school, and I've always said this and I will always support it. You don't have to go to college. You don't. If you love doing plumbing work or if you want to get into electrician, go to a trade school.
Yes,
Go and get
100%.
go to a trade school. Go get your education there. Work for a company for a while. Learn the process. Learn it, and then when you become whatever, I think there's levels to plumbing too, right? And then there's levels to electricity. To get your license there, you have to go through a certain amount of years. And with plumbing, I know for sure it's a 10-year process. And so, but yeah, like my hope is for a lot of these entrepreneurs, our younger generation is to, hey, you don't have to go to a 4-year degree, college to get a degree. Go to a trade school, learn the process there, or start after high school and work for a company as an intern and then, work your way in. But yeah, man, thank you for that. That is a big worry, especially for a lot of us in the trade, man. I hope those out there who are tuning in will be able to like listen and hopefully get inspired to go and do that as a young
Well, they become
teenager.
millionaires too. I mean, that's the thing
Oh
is they
yeah.
all think electricians aren't wealthy. Man, they charge 125 to $200 an hour. Like, shoot, I wish I could charge that,
Oh
sometimes.
yeah.
But it's the thing is you're only at what you're worth
Yeah.
of what you tell people and show your value, right? If
Right.
you don't bring any value, how can you go and charge people? And I think that's the shift in the mindset of entrepreneurial, and especially general contractors is the value you bring is a direct reflect of
Yeah.
what you make and what you
That's
bring
so
to the
true.
table.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, thanks so much, man. We're gonna go to our last segment here. We're gonna talk a little bit about your family. Hopefully you're okay with that. But let's talk about your work-life balance. I mean, like, how's the wife and kids? And I mean, does the kids miss you when you're gone? Like, how's that relationship there?
man, that is hard. That is the hardest thing because in my mind, I'm doing it because I want them to have whatever they need, right? In their mind, it's because I love to work. Which don't get me wrong, I love to work. Like it's I'm an extrovert, so that
Right.
like feeds me,
Yep.
right? But it is difficult. Like, I mean, understanding the wife and the kids that they need you home,
Yeah.
but not just home. When you're home, away and be home,
Be
be
present.
present.
Yeah.
And
Be
that's
present.
one thing that I love Tony Robbins. I love all those, Gary V, like they say it, how it makes sense is don't do something you don't love.
Right.
But because you don't want to lose the ones that you do love, you have to set your boundaries. And I'm very bad at boundaries. I try and tell my customers, hey, any day after 5:30, please, a text is fine and I won't get to it right now.
Oh man.
How often do we see a text like, oh, and I'm in the middle of working still because it's 5:30 and I don't get off
Right.
for another hour because I said 30 minutes to the wife. I'll be done in 30 minutes. An hour later, and
Hold
you're
on,
like,
hold on, hold on.
I'm
Wife is
almost
gonna
done.
watch this. Hold on, your wife's gonna.
Right. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've told my wife, hey, I'll be home in 20 minutes.
Uh,
She's like, have you left the job site yet? I'm like, no. She's like, okay. And then an hour later, and I'm driving home, like, hey, I gotta swing by one quick little stop at Home Depot. I'll be quick, I promise.
mm,
Understanding and knowing how I try and give my Saturdays and Sundays 100% to them.
right.
Monday through Friday, if I'm home, I'm home. And I've gotten better. Like today, I turned off my phone until about 5:30. I was
Mm,
just like, I'm phoned out. Like I
right,
don't want any messages. I'm out. And it's not easy, but
right.
I think if you can learn to balance priorities, like my kid's soccer tournament coming up, like I'm moving things around so I can be there for his tournament in Orem and Park City, and if we have one down south, right, I'm prioritizing and being there instead of not being able to be there because I work a full-time job somewhere, right? I'm making the time and I'm making that sacrifice just as much as they are
Right.
so I can be there at those times that not just matter most because every day matters. It's those big events that kids will remember, and those
Right.
trips. That's what I remember with my dad. My dad traveled to San Francisco and up north in Sacramento. He would leave, fly out in the morning, and fly back the next day. Right. So I just remember growing up, that's how my dad worked. Is he was gone and flew back 3 times a week. Right. So I kind of got used to that. My kids are getting there, but the St. George vibe of 118 days in a hotel, that's been rough. Like
That's been hard, yeah. I can
it's
only
been rough.
imagine. I mean, like, 'cause I can be gone for, like, majority of the day each day, and I get home late at night, my daughter's sleeping, my son's sleeping, and by the time I only see them when they're up in the morning, then I'm out. My daughter, like, and it pains me because I see it, you know what I mean? Like, when I'm out and I'm doing all this, for us, you and I, we're doing it for them. Like, we're doing to give like, I'm giving a life that I dreamed of growing up, right? Like growing up, I've wished for all of these things. My daughter got a 3D printer, like she has all these things that she can be occupied with. You know what I mean? Like and all of these cool stuff I never had, growing up. But I can also see that she wants the time. Like she wants the emotional and intimate time, like to where I can be there, watch her and see her do her projects. And so kudos to you. I know it's hard, you know what I mean? Like, but at the end of it, like, and I tell my daughter all this, all the time. I'm like, look, I know I work a lot. I'm so sorry, but there's going to be a day where, like you'll remember me for it. You know what I mean? Like you'll remember like how to become a hard worker, how to become an honest worker and the morals that you bring, like all of those things is not just for show. It's literally to teach her to be the next person. Now she'll probably be better than me. She'll probably be home, like with her kids and but I mean, when it's all said and done, Clark, when your kids are older, what do you want them to say about you when it's all said and done?
I think the biggest thing is no matter what, I'm always there. My dad passed away when I was 11. I didn't have him growing up,
Right.
and I want them to know that I'm always going to be here and that I worked hard for them to be able to do the extracurricular activities that they wanted. And when they need something or they need to come build something, they know
Right.
who to talk to, right? And be like, "Hey, Dad, can we go build this and can we go do this?" And I pray and hope that at that time I am not stressed so much that I don't
Right.
snap and say, "Why did you ask me? Why don't you ask?" Like,
Right.
I think
Right.
that's the thing is at the end of the day, we as entrepreneurs and as contractors, we have to realize that our kids, you know, they come to us for that advice and not to snap and not to lose our mind. Like, why aren't you listening? Like,
Sure.
really?
Yeah.
You had 3 subs not listen today. Don't take it out on your kids. They're the best ones there, right?
Right. Right.
There's tax write-offs, like,
Oh,
but yeah, I think that's the thing at the end of the day is dad worked hard for us to have the life that we want, and we want
right.
to work hard to give that to our kids, right?
Right.
Generationally. So I think that's it.
Any last words for your wife?
Bear with me. Like
Love that. I love that.
we've been through a lot, and life has a funny way of having people be anchors in your life,
Right.
and we're not perfect people, and we
Right.
try. And thanks for being there. Like you've been the one that's kept me going.
Awesome.
So I think that sums her up. I mean, anytime I need something, she's been taking care of the kids for 100 days, right? I mean, that's not easy.
Right.
So thank you, right?
Yeah. No, no, no. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for taking the time. Your busy Sunday, man. Especially that's a family day, man. I'm sorry to take you away from your family, man.
You're
But
good, man.
last thing here is, I want you to give some advice to those who are, like the next ones in line, like the next general contractors, the next plumbers, the next share some light there and then we'll end it from there to the next generation coming up.
I would say find a couple mentors that are willing to guide you because I wish I would have had some mentors in construction guide me. I wish they would teach me all the aspects of reading plans and being a better owner and managing funds and keeping transparency, I think is the key. A lot of these contractors just come in lump sum and then they're making $80,000 on a project that's 120 grand just seems wrong. So those are the
Right,
things that I would say as coming up is you got to figure out where you need to be cost wise
right,
and find somebody that's willing to help you, right? Because you're going to make mistakes. And if you don't, you're not pushing yourself. You need to make mistakes to learn and to grow, and homeowners need to be there for that just as much.
right,
Same with your family. Like everybody needs to see Like, he got too stressed. This is why.
Right.
What did he do? Did he snap? Yeah, he got mad, or he didn't communicate better, or this or that, right?
Right.
And so if you have a mentor as somebody that's coming into these industries and this field, they can help you catch yourself
Right.
and avoid the mistakes that you and I have done,
Right.
right? Just shift, adapt, walk away and just breathe, because at the end of the day, I don't think people realize how stressed and how kind of sometimes depressed we can get as owners and as contractor guys.
Oh,
It's
yeah. Yeah.
it's stressful. Like, I mean, look at this. I'm great, man. Like, I'm 35. What the
I'm
freak?
older than you, bro. Like, oh my gosh. No, thank you so much, Clark, man. This is Roots in the City podcast. Your host, Thomas Falilu, with my good friend, Clark Manwaring, where real stories, real struggles, and real growth happens here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Chee.